Staying on the path that I've chosen, straight up, come my way, and I'll see you at the top. 'Cause something's gonna happen in this story.
Pace.
I am Kylie. We are both 35 years old.
Oh yeah?
At the moment.
Okay, cool.
And for a while. And we have been on the road for
3 months?
3 months.
Yes.
So
it's
we're
very
noobs.
exciting. Total noobs.
So we were living in Austin, Texas, and in a house, a way too overly large house, and we went to Portland, Oregon for WDS, which is the World Domination Summit, which happens in July.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's a convention of a bunch of weird people like us who do interesting things.
Mm-hmm. And we, Pace was part of I'm Fine Thanks, which is a documentary by Adam Baker and a bunch of other really cool geeky guys. And they interviewed a whole bunch of people on complacency.
Yeah.
And so Pace was a part of this documentary, and at WDS in Portland in July, they had the grand unveiling and the very first showing of it. And even though Pace had been part of it, and even though we had seen it before, we watched the documentary and just sobbed the entire time.
My original plan was I was going to save up enough money so that we could have enough of a savings to start to really get our business paying the bills.
Working at your day job.
I was working at my day job half-time and saving up some money, and we were going to move to Portland, Oregon, which is a city that we loved. Mm-hmm. But when we saw I'm Fine Thanks, we just threw that plan out the window, and we're like, Kylie, what if we just chuck it all, like sell all of our stuff and just live in an RV?
You totally rewrite the story.
Well, what? Tell me
said
what
that
happened.
first. Thank you very much.
It's true that I
said it first, and she was like, "That's ridiculous."
That's true.
And then we sat there in silence for like 5 minutes, and we had another friend with us, and she was just witnessing and being quiet, and the three of us are just sitting in a Starbucks in Portland. After we'd spent like 4 days agonizing over how much we hated Austin and were ready to move to Portland. And then I come out with this crazy, like, what if we just chuck it all and live in an RV and take our kid on the road? And and she's like, nah. So we sit there for 3 or 4 minutes, and then she looks at me and she said, Kylie, what if we sold all our stuff and hit the road in an RV? And I was like, yeah! And that was July, and we had never set foot in an RV before.
We didn't know anything about
ever.
RVs.
Yeah.
We knew a couple of people who lived in RVs and who were friends of ours.
Yeah.
But not to name any names, but we were pretty much in the dark. We didn't really know anything.
And we moved in October 19th. So 4 days before my 30th birthday in 2007, I had a really horrible car accident, and I was a business partner for a temp agency that me and one other person owned, and so I had a lot of responsibilities and work to do that I could no longer do because my hand was crushed. So Pace...
At the time, I had a day job doing computer programming in artificial intelligence, and...
Because she's super geeky.
Yes.
Giant brain.
And it was a cool job, and it was very intellectually stimulating, but my heart wasn't in it anymore, and I wanted to help people more directly. And so... when it was in the car accident, I came home half-time to help her out running the temp agency. And that was when I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug.
Yeah, so about 6 months later, we realized that this temp agency thing was really not working, and the business partnership was not a healthy one. So we parted ways amicably, and...
But I didn't want to go back to my day job.
Yeah.
That
was not good.
I was still working there half-time. I was able to work out a deal with my boss. But we said, all right, well, what are we going to do now? Let's do something that we actually love, that actually helps people. So that was when we started our own business, which evolved many times and is now online at paceandkylie.com.
Peace, Kylie.
That's us. And and we help people live wild, crazy, meaningful lives. We do life coaching, we do online teaching, we do all of our work on the phone and online. We've done occasional in-person workshops, but mostly we work online and on the phone.
Right.
So fast forwarding to later, when we wanted to get on the road, all we need is a MiFi to get us internet on the road, and some Verizon and some AT&T phone coverage wherever we go, which you can check using the Nice Coverage app.
Yeah,
I was not paid to say that. We have a 36-foot-long Forest River sandpiper. We intended to get a 31-foot-long Forest River sandpiper, and we were fooled by the model number. It's a model number 315BHT, and usually the first 2 digits of the model number indicate the number of feet. So we said, 31 feet, we can handle that. And didn't actually measure it, and didn't actually look at the specs until our hearts were set on this one. Oh, it turns out it's 36 feet.
So we chose a fifth wheel because we have a 15-year-old son who travels with us half-time. He lives 3 months at a time with his uncle and 3 months at a time with us because he was not so keen on the idea of living full-time in the land of no internet.
Yes, he's in the Minecraft phase of child development, which requires broadband.
Right. So we compromised, and he stays half-time with his uncle in a house, and then half-time with us on the road. And so we needed a fifth wheel because it's the only way we could get a room with a door for us.
Basically a 2-bedroom.
And a room with a door for him.
Because the motorhomes have like a window and seats at the front.
And then the little ones have like a nook, but really, he's 15.
Yeah. So for family harmony, we needed to get a ginormous fifth wheel so that we could have our own space. we had a lot of challenges. So we tend to kind of jump into the deep end of things in our lives. That's what we do.
That's how we roll.
Don't do what we do.
Or do, but be prepared for it to be a little crazier than you think.
Yeah. I think if you want it to not be kind of like a splash of cold water in the face, then ease into it and live in an RV in one place in the city that you're near.
That you're comfortable with.
Instead of just immediately hitting the road and like going, let's go to this state, let's go to this other state, let's travel. Like, no, like, go to some place not far, some place where knowledgeable...
This is the opposite of what we did.
This is the opposite of what we did. Go to some place where there are people around who will help you and actually ask them for help. Yeah. That is the other 2 challenges that I can think of are figuring out how to not make it be ridiculously expensive and learning what to do. So for learning what to do, we read some books, and there were some things you just can't learn from books. So, just being around helpful people and asking them for help is the best way to learn. And it's the best way that I have learned, except that it took us a very long time to get to those people.
Yes.
And if we had done it sooner, we would have had an easier start.
Yeah, I think so.
And the other thing has been adjusting to this lifestyle where we're used to going into the city to shop at grocery stores.
Right. And having a Starbucks on every corner and what have you. And
yeah.
But the reality of RV parks is that most of them are far from a city that's big enough to have a Whole Foods or a natural market or a Starbucks. We're currently over an hour from the nearest Starbucks. Like, what? So that has been an adjustment. And our truck is so huge, and the gas mileage on our truck is like 2 miles a gallon or something completely ridiculous.
Yeah, driving used to basically be free, and now it's, whoa, you better watch that, you better budget for that, and
that needs its own line on the budget.
Yeah.
So that's been a really big adjustment too.
Yeah, and again, the best thing to do there is talk to people who have been living this lifestyle for a while and figure out different ways to do things instead of trying to...
Roadside markets.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Local coffee shops.
Local coffee shops. So there you have it. So, as we have stated, our RV is large as far as RVs go, and we were living in a house in a very peaceful neighborhood full of older retired people.
Suburban neighborhood.
Which was very funny because we're us. And we drove our RV up in front of our house, and we were moving into it, and we're carrying boxes out and blasting Alanis Morissette music and just having a good time. And a cop comes up, and he is like the sweetest police officer I have ever encountered, and super nice and really into RVs and very excited about the whole RV thing.
We invited him inside. He's like,
I am not allowed.
No, but I'd really like to.
But I went to an RV show. This is very funny. But one of our neighbors had reported us as a traffic violation. And so the officer said that we had to move the rig, and we're like, oh my God. So it's Wednesday, and we're moving into the rig on Saturday morning. Can we just have till Saturday? And he's like, if you hadn't been reported, you could stay put, but because you've been reported, you've got to move. And we're like, oh, can we have until tomorrow? And he said, well, no, but I'm going to go away, and I'm not going to come back until late tomorrow afternoon. And we're like, gotcha. So we're hauling boxes as fast as we can into the RV.
Yeah, our plans of putting everything up neatly just went out, just carrying boxes, put them anywhere.
Into the RV. Yeah. So then, in our hurry, we we didn't hitch the RV to the truck properly. It has a a ball socket hitch?
Yeah.
And there's a ball, and it goes in the socket, and then you do a clamp.
Tongue pin.
So we got it wrong because we were noobs. And when I pulled the truck out, hey kitty, when I pulled the truck away, the RV, which was supposed to come with us, did not. It dropped, bam, down on the back of the truck. It was the loudest sound I've ever heard. It sounded like a bomb went off in the backseat, and there was all of this screaming, and I thought I had killed Pace or Drew. I was just totally freaking out, and then I realized that I was the one doing all the screaming. And once I figured that out, I could stop screaming, and we did remarkably little damage to either the rig or the truck, given that we dropped 14 tons of RV.
14,000 pounds, which is 7 tons.
Of RV onto the back of our truck.
It's a powerful truck.
It's a very good truck. So then we couldn't move the RV, cop or no, so I made this big sign that said, we have broken the RV. It is physically impossible to move it, but we have a repair guy coming. ASAP, sorry for the inconvenience. Heart, Pace and Kylie. And I taped it to the window facing the street so that our neighbor who'd so kindly called the police would be able to read it. And then the next day, the repair guy came and fixed it, and then we were able to move it. So that was our first day on the road. Day on the road.
And as soon as we talked to other RVers about it, almost all of them said, "Oh yeah, I've done that before."
We dropped our rig. Yeah. It's not, and I'm
common mistake.
I'm so glad it's a common thing. Yeah.
So what we learned from our first day on the road is
never hurry.
Never hurry, and try to keep a good sense of humor about things.
Yes.
It's just amazing. It's just like creating your own life instead of just living life out of inertia, just doing what you were doing. And it's an amazing feeling, and I highly encourage it.
Troubles laid before me. Can't you